All right, let's talk about Sudiksha Konanki, 21-year-old who's missing, still missing since March 6th down in DR on spring break. And this story is sad, and it's also very intriguing because, I talked about this one before. It kind of gives me the Natalie Holloway vibes, like I said. And, right now, the guy she was last seen with, Joshua Rippey, he's a 22-year-old senior from Iowa, I believe. And it looks like his parents are trying to get him released from DR because they took his passport and they weren't letting him leave. He was kind of a person of interest. His story has changed a few times, but from what we understand, the last time they were seen together, they have the CCTV footage. Kanishka and Joshua headed into, I guess they were drinking. They were hanging out, by the shore, got swept up in some water. He threw up and claims he doesn't remember. He passed out and she just disappeared. So let me let this play. But I think what's interesting about it is that her parents, I know they're going through hell right now, and their parents want her legally declared dead, which I think is a little bit premature. I'm going to let this play. There's a private investigator who he worked on Natalie Holloway's case.
Private investigator T.J. Ward, who's worked on various high-profile missing cases, including the disappearance of Natalie Holloway back in 2005. TJ, thank you so much for your time. First of all, let's start with this hearing. What do you think comes out of this habeas corpus hearing today?
Well, I'm glad that they've ruled on that they're not going to close the case because it's way too premature to do that. The law in the Dominican Republic says that they can hold a suspect or person of interest for 48 hours. Obviously, we've gone way past that, probably because of the publicity this case has got and so on and so forth.
Yeah, that's kind of the last known footage. This was around 6 a.m. early on March 6th, and they were headed out. The thing, again, I talked about this before. The thing that's terrible is that she was with her friends. Listen, I'm not blaming her friends. They're not responsible for her as an adult, but still, like, your friends, you really shouldn't leave your friends alone drunk, and she's with the guy she never met before. It's just like, you got to stay as a crew. And at the end of the day, whenever y'all are done partying, you need to go back to the hotel as a crew. That's just my opinion. That should be, I thought that was girl code, but I don't know.
Lawyers are going to argue that either charge him or let him go. And I'm sure if they let him go, they're not going to get him back to the Dominican Republic. I have other cases like that also, and they cannot even get the witnesses back to testify in the hearing. So I think it's fish and cut bait right now. I mean, it's way too early. I don't believe she drowned. That's my personal opinion from cases that I've worked. And the disappearance of Natalie Holloway, I worked on that case for 18 years. Till the conclusion of getting some of the information that Joran Vandersloot killed Natalie Holloway.
I don't know. I kind of agree with the private investigator. Part of me feels like, okay, she could have drowned. That seems probable. But I'm like, how come her body didn't show yet? Because they've been, they had helicopters out there. They had, all the divers. They've been really searching for her. And the story is they were out in the water. They got hit by a wave. This is according to Joshua Rippey, the guy she was with. And he claims that they got hit by a wave. He swallowed a bunch of seawater. And then he carried her back, or they both got back to close to the shore where they were in knee-deep water. He said he threw up, and he was drunk, obviously, and of course he swallowed the seawater, so that kind of precipitated his throw up. And then from there, he says that he threw up, kind of passed out, and from there he never saw her again. He thought that she went back to her room and left him there. And then I don't know when he woke up, but he left the beach, and they have footage of him going back to the hotel around like 10 a.m., like 5 hours later. So I tend to think, honestly, if you ask me, I don't think she drowned. I think if she did drown, again, anything's possible, but I think if she did drown, they would have found her body. But I think it's likely that she could have been drunk. Either he did something to her. Something's telling me that he didn't, because I think if he did, he probably wouldn't have. I don't know. I think if you ask me, it had to be either maybe he did something to her, or maybe someone from either the hotel or some type of trafficking ring or something. Somebody may have scooped this girl up on some trafficking. You know what I'm saying? That's what I think. So, and a lot of people have speculated that. So the story doesn't make sense. I know this guy Joshua Ribby has changed his story a couple of times, but I'll be honest with you. My instinct is not that he did something. I think the thing is that he's drunk and he doesn't remember a lot of it, or he was drunk and didn't remember a lot. So
this gentleman here, his story has changed several times since they've interviewed him, so that kind of bothers me also. But everybody's saying that his background and his family and all, that he's a good guy and he wouldn't cover anything up. But anyway, this case is going to stay active until they find some evidence to move forward, and before the family even charges it. Again, I don't believe that she drowned. I think something else happened. And then we can't rule out that she was kidnapped if she came out of the water or somebody abducted her or whatever. We can't rule that out yet.
Well, TJ, you mentioned the laws, they're in the Dominican when it comes to questioning, 48 hours. How common is it then that questioning goes over that? Because again, Uribe has not been charged with a crime, but been questioned by prosecutors at least over the span of 3 days. Is that
common? And the
common?
Attorney General has been involved in this also in Dominican government that question him. But the laws in Dominican Republic are clear that if somebody is not charged with a crime, they can only hold you for 48 hours. That's the law. And that's probably what the attorney that's representing him are going to go in and argue today. And obviously, I saw some audio and video a few minutes before coming on with you that the police have taken and moved all the media out of the courtroom. So we're going to have to wait to see what the bottom line is for the evidence.
And TJ, you've already said you do not necessarily believe she drowned. Her family now is requesting that she be declared dead. They believe, at least they're saying they believe now that she did in fact drown. But, based on your connection to the Natalee Holloway case, what would be your advice to her parents, to Konanki's parents?
I have tried to contact them. I talked to the mother briefly about 9 days ago and told her who I was. I've sent her videos about what I could do for her, that I could raise money to pay for me to come down there. I don't think we need somebody there. And I have the experience from the disappearance of Natalee Holloway. I worked that case for 18 years to go down there on her behalf and work hands-on with law enforcement. And luckily, the FBI and other American agencies are there are trying to find information right now. But coming to the conclusion that they believe that she's died, she's dead, let's move on, is too premature right now.
It's possible that she did drown, but I can't really judge her parents because I can understand what they're going through. They probably just feel like, we want to kind of just move forward. And I guess the hope of thinking that she is alive and at the same time not being able to find her is probably really unbearable. So I'm not judging them, but I do tend to agree with the private investigator. I think that it would be good if someone else investigated it, because it just seems kind of strange. Because when they talk about the guy Ribby, when he talks about them being in knee-deep water, I mean, I don't see a wave coming in that's gonna bring her all the way out and have her drown. It just seems strange. So I almost feel like maybe the abduction thing is more probable, but we're gonna see what happens. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. Again, spring break. I'll say this again. Women in particular, man, and not only just women. Actually, a friend of mine told me that she has a son who's about college age, and he was actually kidnapped in Mexico. And the guys that he went down there with had to pony up a small ransom to get him back, believe it or not. So it's wild out here. You never know. When you're going into another country, you never know. And when you're lacking, when you're drunk, you're going to be lacking. And that's when people can abduct you, kill you, whatever the case is. So you have to move in groups and especially women. If you're drinking, you cannot be going off somewhere. If you're going to go off somewhere with a dude, you're better off in a hotel room. But to be going off somewhere on the beach somewhere, that's the same thing that happened to Natalie Holloway. And Natalie Holloway, more than likely, if she had just went to a room with Joran Vandersloot, she probably would not have been dead because there would have been too many witnesses around, right? Or if she just never went off with him, or if she did go off with him and she took some friends, she would probably be alive today. You know what I'm saying? So let me know what you guys think in the comments. Crucial Combo.